Welcome to Suits, Jeans, and a Sketchbook. This is a series of conversations that will take you behind the scenes into the residential housing industry, introducing you to some individuals who are making a real difference in our industry. I'm John Williams with Williams Residential Design, and I've been in this industry for almost 50 years. One thing I love most is that this job is never stagnant, it's forever changing, and as designers, in order to stay on top of our game, we have to not only keep up with technologies, but evolve our design styles. I'm excited about this series because we will introduce you to individuals who are not only creative, but are real game changers. These are people who are really making a difference.
I'm Darren Sanger-Smith with Structure Creations. I've been in business for just over 25 years. I started the industry when I was young, started working on job sites. And I remember meeting all through the years numerous people who are very creative. Today we're visiting with Darren Miller of HummingbirdHill Homes. Darren, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Not too bad, thanks.
Good. Nice to see you, Aaron.
Nice to see you, John. So my name is Aaron Miller, as Darren mentioned. First, let me say it's an honor to be with you guys this morning. So Hummingbird really is a construction firm focused on three things. The first is the execution of fine architectural design details. The second is, as a passive house certified builder, we focus on the latest building science related to sustainability. And lastly, we're a WELL certified builder, so we have some insight and some working knowledge as it relates to the relationship between the built environment and health and wellness, which is an interesting and emerging field.
So that's interesting, Aaron. Actually, you just mentioned about wellness. And we talk about passive home designs all the time, but wellness is a really new thing that you've been really involved in. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's an emerging field. There's a lot of research coming out of institutions like the Mayo Clinic, the Well Living Lab, that is showing us that the built environment, or where we live and where we work, has a much more dramatic impact on our health and wellness than we realized. And so the study and the research is surrounding elements such as indoor air quality, thermal comfort, water purification. There's different elements that really show that if we can pay attention to this at the design phase, we can make a tremendous difference for our clients and for our homeowners and their capacity to thrive.
Aaron, we had a tour a couple of weeks ago through a wonderful house that you did just in the area. I think, Darren, you designed it, actually, and it was absolutely lovely.
Thank you.
And tell me a little bit about the process of design and incorporating some of those elements that you talked about into that house.
Yeah, John, it's a great question. So for that particular house, which Darren designed, and it's the process becomes that much easier when you're dealing with sort of professional designs that are kind of really detailed and well thought out.
Oh, come on, pat me on the shoulder one more time.
For us, the process is really centered around trying to be as transparent as possible for clients, and also to put the control back in their hands as it relates to budget and scheduling and such, and decision making. So we will utilize a process, a formal tendering process. We'll receive the quotes back. We present those to the clients. Once the project starts, we're in the execution phase. Communication becomes critical. We have a mechanism that we do a daily job log. Those job logs are available to our clients online, but we also summarize them and email a summary every week on Monday mornings as well.
That budget control element has to be really important in today's marketplace.
Critical. And I think the transparency. I think construction firms have a negative connotation to them sometimes that we're trying to work against and show clients. It is about facilitating trust and knowing that we are working in their best interest. And they also see every penny of their money that they're paying to build this house and where it's going to, including our fees.
So I want to take it back to that whole point about wellness that you mentioned earlier. We did that, as you mentioned, that one project that you took John through. A lot of that stuff was new to me as well, and it was really interesting. So tell me about when you bring those consultants into the process that you have.
We traditionally design and build homes utilizing one of the 5 human senses, which is what we're going to see.
Right.
And what we try to do through the process of not design, but from a build standpoint, is introduce the concept of using a holistic 5 senses process as it relates to how we build their home. So, as an example, for sight, of course, you're working on the designs, the dimensions, the flow, et cetera, but what we'll look at from a sight standpoint is actually have a conversation around healthy lighting tied to circadian rhythm, and what does the research show the benefit is to our health and wellness that way. For sound, we'll have a conversation around acoustical privacy and strategic sound introduction and the studies around that. For touch, we're going to have a conversation around thermal comfort and what does that mean, especially as it relates to the designs that you guys are doing are modern seems to be a growing trend where more glass, more windows. You have to pay attention to passive solar heat gain, right? And the comfort element around that. For smell, we're going to talk about indoor air quality and the impact that has on physical health. And then for taste, we'll have a conversation around the purification of water and the access to water as well.
This is interesting stuff because all of a sudden, we're expecting clients as architects or as designers to make a huge leap of faith. Right? They're going to spend the most money they've probably spent on anything in their life. And they don't know what it's going to look like, what it's going to feel like, or any of those things.
Right.
So we're asking them to take a huge leap of faith. And is the house going to suit them in the future? Is it going to keep their kids healthy? All of those kind of things. So the elements you're talking about are really new to the industry. And that's a wonderful way to be thinking about it. And we see it in sort of some of the landscape designs that we're seeing in the future for wellness and health. And now to see it into the actual structures of the houses is really quite interesting, especially with large open plans that we're dealing with now, and high ceiling spaces. All of the acoustics, the airflow, all of those things have to be taken into account far more than they used to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what was really the catalyst for us, I was actually attending a lecture and I heard the quote, "There's no such thing as a neutral place. What we build either enhances or erodes our capacity to thrive." And it was that thrive component that I think when we meet with clients, that's what we want them focused on. Yes, they're going to have their marble countertops, and yes, the hardwood floors, and those are all critically important elements, but we're trying to have clients think holistically about their home because it is a holistic system. Hardwood floors and marble countertops are great, but if you're not comfortable in your home, or if the air you're breathing is contaminated, and people don't realize that indoor air quality, studies show that indoor air quality inside your home is up to 5 times worse than just stepping outside your home traditionally.
And of course, that's been exacerbated because of the way we have to seal houses today.
Correct.
Yeah, they're much tighter.
Yeah,
There's
absolutely.
no leaky windows anymore.
As we're going through the design and we move into the construction side of things, you start introducing as part of your team these consultants who are going to help our clients with, we already know the mechanical type system, but then you take it another step farther and we start talking to all these individuals, and that's part of your team.
Yeah, and I think every client is different, and I don't want people thinking that to build a healthy home and to really engage all 5 of the senses is a exponentially more expensive build than a traditional build, because if you do it proactively, it's not. It actually doesn't have to be. So we can do some very simple things that can address a lot of the concerns. We can also, when you mention consultants, we do have some firms that we can send the drawings to, that will do a full holistic analysis and give us a plan as to things like, you know, a lighting plan, a air filtration plan, a water filtration plan, et cetera, et cetera. And so, you know, the sky is the limit. You can kind of do the bare minimum, and I think it is crazy not to at least look at doing some of these things that really don't have any cost implications, but can benefit significantly the health and wellness.
But it's amazing that people don't know these things. If there's some of very simple ideas that really don't affect budget, really don't affect the overall design in any way, but people just aren't doing them, or designers aren't thinking about them.
Well, I think that's the big problem. I don't think most architects and designers, especially technologists, haven't thought of these things as time goes on.
Yeah.
You know, it hasn't been that way in the past. Unfortunately, in our industry, we tend to just follow along with what we've done before.
Yeah.
And creating new ideas and looking at things in a different light and from a different perspective makes a huge difference to us.
Absolutely.
So that's that innovator we were talking about.
That's
right?
exactly right.
And I think it goes back to we've just, as an industry, and the homeowners included, have just been so focused on qualifying the concept of quality around the execution of finished details and what you're going to see. And what we're trying to do, and it's really in the last 10 years, with the amount of building science data and clinical trials that have been sort of presented, that we've started to realize, the built environments where we live, where we work, has a dramatic impact on our health and wellness. And you have to pay attention to it holistically instead of just sort of the finished details. And then that's not to say that the finished details are not important. Of course they're important. But holistically, when you can build a home around the five senses, the experience, because you experience a home with all of your senses.
Yep.
So why not design and build
For sure.
utilizing all of your senses?
So a lot of this information, websites, links to on your website that we can go to?
Yep.
And people can find them?
Yep.
Wonderful.
Yeah, we sort of have in our website an introduction of the five senses and what the topics are. And there's a link to the ability to measure some of these things. Like, we're getting to the point where we'll have sensors embedded in the drywall that is measuring indoor air quality. And for the first time ever, instead of passively trying to manage things, we can now, when the indoor air quality drops to a unhealthy level, actually kick on your HRV or ERV and start exhaling the contaminated air and pulling in fresh air until the sensor measures a good indoor air quality again.
Aaron, I'd like to thank you, and Darren and I would like to thank you for coming in today to talk to us. It's been very enlightening and learned so much, and it's exciting. And Darren and I really have sort of appreciated your work from a distance, and now Darren's actually got you working on some of his projects, which is really exciting, because we're seeing all of the things you're talking about come to life. And that's really, really, from a designer's point of view, just a huge thrill for us. So you're really making a difference, and I think where you're going in the future is the route that a lot of other people are going to follow.
Oh, thank you. It's an honor. It's an honor to talk to you both.
Thanks, Blake.
Yeah.